This is Julie Fast. I have a question. Do you sometimes feel so caught up in everything that you have to do in order to manage bipolar disorder that you can't even imagine a future where you even feel better? Are you sometimes so caught up in the idea of trigger management and knowing your symptoms and lifestyle changes and exercise and going to doctors and taking pills that it's easier just to lie in bed and do nothing? It's important to know that that's normal and you're not alone. And I'd like to share a little bit about how I deal with this. I went through that with my bipolar disorder without question. It took me about 7 years to even accept that I have bipolar. I accepted the diagnosis without question because I saw the symptoms, and I have the kind of brain that's like, okay, if you can show me a set of symptoms and I match them 100%, then I've got that disorder. But what I couldn't believe was that I actually had it. I'm like, what the heck? I've got a serious mental illness? Are you kidding me? This wasn't supposed to happen. I'm supposed to travel the world and be a Broadway star and write books and do everything. I can't believe that this is happening to me. It took about 7 years, and then eventually I was like, okay, this is my life. That was quite a while ago. I was diagnosed when I was 31, and now I'm in my 50s. And then the next phase started, which is, what the heck? I have to deal with this every day? There's not a cure? You're telling me that this is for life? That can't be possible. What am I supposed to do? I have to modify everything? And then I realized, you know what? Yeah, I did. I have a chronic mental illness. And when I accepted that, and accepted that treating bipolar first was my motto, I started to get a lot better. I found a new path versus the path I thought I was going to take. I found a path that means bipolar treatment comes first. Would I rather party, travel the world, be on Broadway, write movies, and do what I thought I was going to do? Of course I would. But you know what? That's not even an opportunity for me. I have to plan basic travel, much less traveling the world all the time. I don't know anybody who doesn't face challenges in life, but those of us with bipolar, let's be honest, we face a lot more challenges. We truly do. I'm sort of looking for words here where I can convey that you're not alone if you don't like the diagnosis, if you don't believe the diagnosis, if you think somehow you can go through life doing nothing about your bipolar, that I don't want to take meds because they're from Big Pharma and they're going to poison me, or I can smoke pot and drink if I want, you can't stop me. And I'm here to say all of that's true. Those are your own thoughts. You can do whatever the heck you want. But my challenge has been, and is now with the sort of the physical health side of my life, is who do I want to be? What do I want? I want to wake up happy. I used to wake up crying, and my depression was so severe that I would be suicidal while I slept. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night and be suicidal, and then I'd cry that I was suicidal, and then I'd wake up suicidal. And that went on for a long time. And there was nothing wrong with my life. It was purely bipolar. But you know what? That's not my life anymore. So when I did decide treat bipolar first and watch triggers and do what I write in my books and make lifestyle changes, I got happier. It's not that I now long for what could have been. I mean, it's been over I was diagnosed when I was 31. It's been over 20 years since I've been diagnosed. I have bipolar every day. I have a very chronic form of the illness, but I have a lot of happiness, and I feel that I'm on a path of better understanding this illness so that I can help others. I can be more part of a research. And I'd like to put the word out, especially if you're really young and you've just been diagnosed. My symptoms started at 15, and I'd sort of give anything to have been diagnosed then. Absolutely, it would have been better. You don't want to go through what those of us who had to just get herpes and marriages after a week and flunk out of school and drink too much and not be able to work. You don't want that. Get your diagnosis and decide how you want to live, who you are, what you want. It's not easy. But I have a lot of happiness in my life. I have stable relationships. I love my work, even though it's still really hard for me. I've got to figure out how to make my work better. This is a bit of a rambling message because it's sort of rambling to try and figure out how to manage this illness. I work with a lot of men who have bipolar disorder, and this illness is really hard for them because the role that men play in the world is a different role than women play in the world. And I believe that with all of my heart. Women are allowed to cry more. We're allowed to be upset without being as aggressive. We're allowed to say, oh my God, what am I going to do? Whereas men are often taught, keep it in, suck it up. You're a man, be a man. So the struggles that men face is something I really want to focus on as well. Men who cry from depression, imagine what that's like. Women who cry from depression, we're accepted. Men who cry from depression, it's a stigma. Let's break it all. So I guess my message is, if you're watching this, I hope you feel better to know that if someone like me, who really, really has a lot of bipolar disorder symptoms, can sit here in my 50s and say the hard work that I did starting in my 30s has paid off 100%. I went from somebody who had bipolar disorder so badly that I couldn't work, I couldn't maintain relationships, and I was pretty much sick all the time. Now, my bipolar is here every day, but goodness gracious, it's nothing like it was. I'm 75% better. How many illnesses can we say that on our own we can be 75% better, especially as serious an illness as bipolar disorder? Read my books. Read the books of others, like Mary Ellen Copeland's RAP Plan, the LEAP program, the work of Christina Huff and Gabe Howard, Jesse Close, the people who are out there in the front line saying, I'm like you, here's what I do, join me. BP Magazine, there's so much support for us. There was hardly anything in the 80s. So if you're diagnosed early or just diagnosed, oh, thank heavens. There's so much for you out there. All right, thank you. Have a great day.